It's the 2022 WCC Women's Basketball Media Day. We just talked with the Portland Pilots. Up next, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Used to being the top dogs, I should say, in the WCC for many, many years. And we're delighted to have Lisa Fortier, head coach, Kaylin Trong, sister Kaylee Trong. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. Before we get to the particulars of the club, would love to get all of your takes on kind of the big picture look of the Bulldogs this year. Goals, aspirations, especially with this really loaded conference coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's early. So these guys have started talking about what their goals are, and a lot of our goals are player-led, but I know that they're always pretty lofty. I think that there are some things that we did really well last year. Our team never stopped getting better. Our team never stopped believing that we could compete at the highest level. I think those are things we're going to try to take forward into the next season. It's just such a totally different personnel that we have. Of course, these two and Yvonne are back in a similar role to what they had last year. They won't be the same, but they'll be similar. But then a lot of our other players are going to be stepping into a very different role than they had last year. So I think as we figure some things out, we'll see a little bit more, what we can achieve as a team. But our conference does have a lot of good players back. Our non-conference schedule is really tough. And so I think for us, keep getting better every day. We have to improve in all the areas all the time. It's all the same coach stuff that all the coaches say, to be honest with you. I'm glad we don't have a game today because we're not quite ready for that. But hopefully when we get to, our first game and then our first conference game and all those things, we are going to be ready. But big things, I think we're going to have a lot of opportunities to score the ball in a variety of different ways. A lot of that's what these two can kind of help orchestrate on the court with their skill set. And then just the areas that our players have worked hard in the off season. There's a bunch of them who've improved their shooting. There's people working hard on face-up game and, making strong moves and all those things. So I'm excited to see kind of where we can evolve as an offensive team.
All right, ladies, your turn. Same question. Kaylee, when you look at this club, hopes, goals, aspirations, what do you got?
Just opposite of Coach Lisa, all the players just want to hit the court running. So we're ready tomorrow we're ready to play. But, for this team, I'm very excited just to play alongside this new team. I mean, every team every year is going to be different. And, I'm really excited because we're just hungry. We got a lot of people returning. And then, like Coach Lisa said, people are going to step in new roles and, just very, very excited to see how this team progresses. Yeah, I agree. I agree with both. From the player perspective, we just want to hit the court running, playing games and stuff like that. But from coach's perspective, I think also we're looking to grow together, starting to build that chemistry and connect. I think we're both excited to start playing with this group.
Well, let's talk about that chemistry because the off season is the big moment for everybody to improve. What did you guys do as a group? Coaches is away a little bit in the off season, summer, things that you guys worked on to improve chemistry wise or anything fun that you did to kind of get everybody on the same page?
We recently had the team retreat and, that was really fun. We got to just hang out by the lake and then do some team activities. We did a egg drop activity, which was pretty fun to see which team can come up with a better protection for their egg. Yeah, with that, I think in the summer it was kind of tough to have a lot of people on campus at the same time because we have people representing their national teams.
Yep.
But getting together, watching and supporting those representing the national team, or just getting together and getting movie, eating together, just the small stuff, just to be around each other. We don't have to necessarily be talking about basketball, but just being in each other's presence, I think really helps a lot.
Some of the other key returners can't help but go to Yvonne Egypt, and what an absolute beast she is. If you could all just weigh in on her contributions and what a difference maker she is.
Yeah, well, I think so much of what she did last year, I actually think the best thing she does is guard. I think she can guard every position, and that was at maybe no point what people noticed the most from her. So when I think that's your best attribute and you're scoring like you do and rebounding like you do, she can run the floor. I mean, Vani really is one of those special players who has all three aspects. Those are the kind of the three we break it down to with the on-court things, the rebounding, the defense, and then the offensive ability. And so she's going to be difficult to get off the floor because I think she's improved in each of those areas. She was as hungry as any player we had, and she was asking for, Coach, can I do more workouts? Can I do longer workouts? Can you make it harder for me? She was really trying hard to push herself when she was not away with the Canadian national team. And so, I mean, I'm glad she's on our team.
How much better does she make you two in the backcourt?
Oh man, she makes us look good. Her running the floor, like being able to just kick it up to her, just on defense, knowing that she's going to be at the rim to protect, like, say someone goes by us, she's going to be there to protect the rim. And, she does the little things, but then she'll even score, like Coach Lisa said. So she does a little bit of everything for the team. Yeah, I agree. Even in practices, when we're on opposite teams, she still pushes her teammates to be better. She, like Coach Lisa says, defends really well, so she can guard just about anybody on the court. So when she's like kind of hounding us or guarding us off the ball screens, it's definitely a different energy than playing like a true post player.
What about transfers coming in? You got Maxwell coming in from Utah. Thoughts of, the newcomers coming in that are going to contribute. You've got a short time to play with them, but what have you thought so far with that?
Again, I'm just very excited for just for everyone to click together. I know it's going to take a lot of practices, but just Brenna, what she brings to the table, her shooting and her running the floor, and then Destiny, her inside presence is just going to make our team and elevate our team.
I look back at last year. I don't know how you would describe last year. There's always, the expectations are always so crazy. You lose to BYU a couple of times in the regular season, but then in the WCC tournament, you get mad, you get even. You win that thing, you beat them, you get into the NCAA tournament again. What do you draw from when it comes to last year? I hope that it's from a great success story, but can you all help us understand what you draw from regarding last year, second round NCAA tournament?
I would just say, I alluded to it a little bit, but they just knew that we were going to keep getting better.
Okay.
And they knew that we weren't going to give up. And we knew that it rarely is the race like that. Like, there are always bumps in the road. And we had several. I mean, we had a couple games where I could have coached us better. We had a couple games where we could have played better. We had some that were both. We had some that we won when we weren't at our best. We had it all. And, the game at BYU was maybe a low point. We were not very good in that particular game. Credit to them for, obviously it wasn't just because we were bad. They made us play not as good as we could, and they did a great job. But I think our team, I don't even think when we walked onto the floor for the championship game, they were just, this is the game we have today. And it looked like, I'm sure they were saying different things in their brain, and I'm trying not to get them to, right? Like, let's just play today. And I know that they wanted to avenge that situation, but I think that's the biggest challenge and positive that we can take back is we're always trying to keep them present, next play attitude, and like, let's work on what's in front of us, and that's one of the things that we should take away is never give up on ourselves. If we can stick together, then we can achieve a lot.
Ladies?
Yeah, I agree with Coach. I think last season we had a lot of ups and downs, ran into a couple bumps in the road. Some players went through slumps and stuff like that and injuries. So I think we just clicked at the right time. Obviously showing up for the WCC tournament, everyone shows up and plays their best, whether that's the 80% that you can give that day, but I think we really did click.
Even in the Louisville game. I mean, sorry, Lenny. But like we spotted him 14 points.
Yeah, you did.
We came back and tied that sucker.
Yeah,
so
you did.
I think that's something that hopefully we're going to keep remembering, that it's not over until the end. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter. So sorry. I know you're going to say that anyway. So, yeah.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the history, though. I mean, you look at the program, there's been 13 NCAA appearances. What is that like in the locker room? I'm an alum, so I know what it used to look like, and I know what the program is now. So when you guys are in the locker room, do you guys talk about where this program has come, what it looks like now, expectations to keep it at a very high level, which, for the 6th straight year, you guys have had 20-win seasons. So that's a big deal. Is that stuff that you guys talk about in the locker room together?
Oh, yeah, we definitely strive to just, up the level of the Zags program every single year, and if that's contributing in many ways that we can. And just like you said, every single year we graduate like great players, and that's what good programs do.
Bring them, you graduate them, and then you bring the next level in. Between the Gonzaga men and women's programs, the success in your town at the Dog Pound, incredible. Do you support the men's team? Does the men's team come and support you? Is there a relationship where you're pulling for each other, teasing each other, getting on each other, training with each other, anything like that?
Yeah. We show up. I mean, the game's always packed for the men's. But yeah, we try to support each other, whether we like stream the games or anything like that. I think it also just comes with like having school pride, whether that be just basketball in general or like watching the other sports. And you just want your school to do really well.
Okay, but let's talk about packed. I mean, you guys play in the kennel, and it is packed most nights. You go on the road, you do not have the same feeling. What is it like? Step it out on the floor when all of a sudden the crowd just goes nuts.
Oh man, that's the greatest feeling in the world. Like you just have nothing to lose after that. You got so much support behind you. It's like you can't mess up. And if you do, it's like, okay, next play, they got me.
Coach, we talk about this, and ladies weigh in too, but we talk about this conference so deep this year. There is no night off, and you better bring your A game or someone will surprise you or punish you. Does that make you better, Coach?
Yeah, well, fortunately for us, or unfortunately for us, it's like that every year for us. It doesn't matter the depth of the conference. We're used to always having the target on our back.
Bullseye's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think, hopefully we're preparing our players to be ready for each game already. I think certainly in a year like this, and it's always the case in conference where any team can beat you, but this year, talent-wise, there's, a lot of parity, I think, across the board. There's a lot of players who are very experienced back with the COVID thing and people just hanging around for a little bit. There's a lot of people who are back from injury or, there's really, really good players, not just one or two, but you're talking 3, 4, 5 on each team that can make you pay if you don't show up and if you don't execute the scout and if you're not prepared mentally and physically. So I think that even though we're used to it, it's going to be harder than ever. And I think we're going to be ready for the challenge and hopefully do our job to prepare ourselves the best we can.
We're showing you the preseason poll right now. Gonzaga, your club, picked to win it all. Would it make you cranky if you weren't?
Me? I'm always cranky.
Oh,
I mean, I'm never cranky. I'm never cranky. No. I mean, I usually, depending on, last year BYU graduated several fifth-year players, right? But it seems like most of the time, if you did pretty well last year, then you're going to go pretty high this year. No one even knows, especially these days, no one even knows who's on anyone's team right now. Like, who's coming back? I saw some of the coaches in there said, so is so-and-so back? Is so-and-so back? So I think it wouldn't make me cranky because I know it doesn't matter if they say we're going to be last or going to be first. We still have to go out and do the work.
Well, talking about returning players in the conference, is there anybody out there that, really kind of you have your eye on or you're worried about on other opponents?
I mean, JMO, all coaches are paranoid.
Okay, well, that question for me.
All of them.
Or when we take a look at who you are, let's go to who you are returning. How about that? I like the faces that pop up. You've got some talent coming back, ladies.
Yes, ma'am. In a way, I like to think that we're a pretty veteran group, as in, like, even we had players who didn't play much in games. We're having people who've been through the program already, so they know what to expect, which is good because then you don't have to catch that many people up. Whereas if there's like a huge freshman class that came in, we'd have to take some time to catch them up to speed. But we have people who've played at the college level, so they understand what it takes to win.
Well, and let's talk about experience. You guys had a unique experience playing for your national team. What was that like this summer? I heard that you guys really weren't into social media, and now you're like stars over in Vietnam, and you got 1 million followers. What was that like?
It was just a blessing for both of us just to be able to represent Vietnam, and we've always talked about it as a family. Like, me and Lee wanted to take a trip back, and I guess it wasn't God's plan that we did this summer. It was just very, very unique to us, and just to be able to immerse ourselves into the culture We've always grown up in a Vietnamese household, but just never got to experience like what it was like for our parents back there. So.
Well, and speaking of family, I heard Grandma is big time in your lives. Tell us about Grandma.
Grandma is our #1 supporter. She's been to every single game, well, minus college, but up until we went to college, she's been at every single game, front court. She's even hassled the referees with her cane before. And I had to tell Grandma, I said, Grandma, you cannot swing your canes at the ref. No matter how bad the call was, you can't do that. But she's definitely caught on to the game, and so she knows everything. I know during AAU games when we have the parent ran scoreboards, sometimes they'll forget to put the scoreboard and she'll wave her cane. You'll just see her waving her cane on the side saying, you need to add a point. So yeah, she's awesome.
Grandma's who we had to win over.
That sounds like it.
So. Yes,
Grandma actually wanted us to stay home, closer to home, going to college, and I think it was hard for her to, I guess, hear our decision going far, like the very tip top of the country, and so yeah, I definitely miss seeing her at the games all the time, but I know she's always watching.
Does she make it to any of your college games?
She got to come to our freshman year, they went to Florida, and when we were in Florida, and then last year, the big game, in Vegas here, the championship game.
Nice.
So she also did catch the NCAA tournament for our sophomore year.
Okay.
That was also the COVID year, so it was very minimal people. But.
Please tell me she brought her cane last year. I'm all for the cane.
I am too. Then someone else is going to get the heat instead of me.
Let her fly.
She has it with her, but it's rare at this point. But I told Grandma, I said, don't forget your cane. Well, we're going to need it.
When you two were growing up in a very close household, did you make a pact that you were going to go to college together? Was it one of those deals where maybe it was unspoken, or you just said, hey, let's figure it out together because where you go, I go? Was it one of those deals?
It was definitely a package deal from the beginning. I think I'm going to speak on my behalf. I find so much joy in playing with Lynn. I say this all the time, but she's my best friend on the court, on and off the court. And so when I realized that our parents, majority of the schools that were recruiting us were outside of Texas, they were kind of nervous that we're going to kind of split ways, and they didn't know we're going to be able to be taken care of, or, so I think it was also we took in consideration that, it's nice to have family with you. So, yeah. Yeah, I just have to say, if I didn't find joy in playing with you, I would not be wearing Gonzaga jersey right now. But yeah, she said it so many times. She's like my best friend on the court. I know that she got my back and I got hers. So I think it was, again, easier on our parents to go to the same school, but Gonzaga fit everything that we wanted, on our checklist. And, I'm so glad to be able to continue playing with her.
Okay. So I know you're competitive with each other though. Who's better at the Nintendo Switch? I heard you guys are gamers.
Yeah, that's kind of tough. It has to be a certain game. We like to play co-op games. We leave the competition stuff to our teammates. We had a little Mario tournament last summer, so our teammates can get really competitive with that. But with us, I think it's just more more laid back and relaxed. And
It's been absolutely delightful to have all three of you with us today here in Las Vegas. The Trong sisters, gosh, you're so much fun to watch. Coach Fortier, thank you so much for taking the time. Once again, we look forward to what Gonzaga does on the floor and just pulling for you guys as individuals, another loaded non-conference schedule. And then, of course, the beast of the WCC begins. We expect to see you where you usually are, which is near or at the top. You set the level. This is on you. So we have big expectations of Gonzaga. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, so we will say so long to Gonzaga.